Hello there, hello there, hello there, hello. No mai haere mai kia ora, and I hope you had a delicious lunch. Welcome to the practical side of live. In this session, we're going to discuss what actually goes in on putting on an excellent live show. It's not actually just about getting up and playing live. There's so much around it. So today we've brought together 4 people who sit at very different but very crucial parts of that ecosystem. First, at the end, we've got Audrey Siataga. She's a manager who really thinks about the long game in performance and the sort of bigger picture. Then we've got Lucy Macrae, venue owner. She owns Double Whammy. She's also in a band, Dick Move. And so she's got that experience of, or even as a venue owner, has that experience of looking after the band, but also looking after the audience. Then we've got James Goldsmith, legendary sound engineer who's responsible for how you actually sound in the room, is such a key part to anyone who's in a band or a musician. And then sitting beside me, we've got Jazz Kapow, and she's a back-of-house expert who keeps the whole machine running. She recently is working on Robbie Williams and Foo Fighters, and so big stadiums, which is where many of you will end up playing one day, without a doubt. But I sort of want to get this started because you guys have all seen different types of shows, big ones, small ones. I'm sure you've seen some highs, you've experienced some lows. To kick things off, can you guys share with me, I want to know from each of you, is there anything or is there one thing that musicians get wrong when they're thinking about playing live?
Really easy one. Not having fun. Music's supposed to be fun. It's like, if you have fun on stage, the audience will love it.
That's such a good call. So don't get distracted by the tech. Don't get distracted by the who's on the door.
Just, enjoy it.
I love it.
I have to 100% agree with that, and like reading some of the questions that we are going to talk about later, I think I say that, sort of reiterate that as we go. Like, you're on stage to have fun. That's why you're doing it. You're doing it for the love of it. So make sure that you are loving it.
Excellent. Audrey, on a day of show, they're playing tonight, a band's playing tonight, before they even book, I guess, what should they be thinking about, or what do an artist need to think about when they're booking a show?
Before contracting a show, I think, to be honest, I'd be looking at what your intention is.
Oh, Audrey, pick this up closer. Yes.
Closer? Can you hear me? Oh, yeah. Before booking a show, I'd probably look at what your intention is in the territory that you're playing and making sure that it's sticking to what your plan is that year. That goes into it, plus your fee. Be ready with what your expectations are. Your booking agreement, and also have your riders ready. Tech riders, hospo riders. It's, you need a deep dive into that.
Yeah, which we will deep dive soon. Lucy, when a band approaches you and says, we want to play at your bar or at your venue, what makes it a make or break?
There isn't, and I talk particularly about Whammy and the spaces within. So we have public bar, which is 100-person capacity, Whammy, which is 200, and Double Whammy, which is 400. So there's lots of options there. So there kind of isn't a make or break. I would like to say that there's a space there that everybody can perform at, which is why it's configured like it is. Unfortunately, there are some realities in the way that independent venues do run. We make all of our money on bar sales. It's not an ideal model. Most people who are in work within independent music venues don't want to be doing that, but that's the reality of it. So when it comes to Friday and Saturday nights specifically, we do need to ensure that we're sort of getting that spend through the door. But that shouldn't put you off, especially if there are other options, like playing a Wednesday night in public bar to 100 people. You build on that, and then you're playing in Whammy on a Thursday night to 200 people, Whammy on a Friday night to 200 people, and then you're at Double Whammy to 400 people. So you don't need to start at that to the top at 400. You're building your audience, you're building your skill level, and that's a great thing as well.
And when a manager approaches you, say if Audrey did, would you question where they are in their sort of album release, or does that make a difference to you if you know what the band's plan is around it?
Yeah, absolutely. I also I view myself as a bit of a mentor in that space as well. So, artists approaching me may not know where they are sitting. So if I can talk to them through where they are in their album cycle, if they've got an album, if they've got an EP, if they've got a single, what their plans are, I will absolutely help artists through that process and sort of figure out the best space and time and room and a long-term plan as well to be able to perform in these spaces.
That's amazing. That's very cool. James, we've talked a little bit about a tech writer. Can you tell us what is the dream situation for if, a couple of days before a show you were working with a band or an artist that you'd never worked with before? What's the dream situation that they supply you with?
Well, a technical writer. So a technical writer is basically the equipment you need to run your show from the venue. Whether that's backline or that needs to be hired in, or what microphones need to go where, all of the kind of the bitsy things, and all of the kind of like where the monitors go, what the stage looks like. It's that's the most important thing, because then I can plan my entire show around it, or I can integrate it into the other band's writers and work out how it will work for me. It also, the most important thing on that is a contact phone number and a date. Because if I look at it and go, oh, this is a bit funny, why is that? Like, why is that like that? The guitarist wants that, and we don't have that. I can email or I can call them and be like, hey, well, the venue doesn't have an AC30, do you want a Fender Twin? Or are you actually bringing an amp? Because then I won't drag one out of the storage cupboard or hire one in, and it will save the gig money.
So a stage plot, is that what you call it? When they actually mark it out, is that the dream situation?
Always.
Always a stage plot.
Always a stage plot. For a beginning band, a stage plot's probably more important than anything else, because quite often people will try to write a writer and not really understand what the information they need to convey is in a way that's actually understandable or by a technician. But with a plot, I can look at it and I can see, okay, there's a guitarist there, there's a drummer there, these people have vocal mics. A drawing is a lot, even if it's just a sketch. If it's a good sketch, it's great. Like I actually did a little talk about technical writers in Wellington for something a while ago, and I have a whole folder of examples, and some of them are very good and some of them are very bad. But
what makes a very good one? Just easy to read. Easy to
read. But the best ones are, they can be entertaining, they can be this, but like the stage plot is the most important thing. And like when I'm working with a new artist, sometimes I'll be like, can you just draw me on a napkin what you want the stage to look like, and take a photo of it. And I'll get these stick figures and things, and I'll be like, cool, and I can put that into a document and make it work and make it look professional. But if I'm just going, where do you want your guitarist? That's like, yeah.
It makes it heaps clearer.
Heaps clearer.
Jazz, you would have dealt with all sorts of personalities backstage. If I was in a band and I hadn't really had much experience, playing at a big venue, and I showed up, what's your expectation of my behaviour if I was, going backstage and everything like that?
Yeah, well, we don't want anyone that's super wasted, because they're fucking annoying to start with. And so that's number one. Number two is be professional. The same thing. Be professional, turn up on time, don't run anyone late. Same thing, that all leads into this technical writer or the stage plot and stuff. The information that we all get beforehand will ensure that we can do your sound check on time. You're not going to run late for the second, for the headliner, blah, blah. I mean, it just... Yeah, and don't bring people backstage. Like, it's very much in my world with the bigger shows, your laminate or your AAA pass, it's just, you can't post photos of it. You can't take it out of the venue and give it to someone else to bring people in. It's all pretty sensible stuff. And I'll definitely tell you if you are backstage with me and you're doing something wrong.
Do you give quite clear instructions to artists or to their managers? Because to be honest, I didn't know that I couldn't take a photo of my AAA.
Ah, yeah.
I probably have.
Hey. Oh, Charlotte, we'll have to go back through your Instagram.
Oh, what do you mean?
There's a whole thing in the tech world where it's like, if people posting photos of their AAA, other techs being like, don't do that. Don't, yeah.
And why not?
Well, I was on a tour a few years ago and someone posted a picture of the laminate and we're on our first show. We're doing 6 shows throughout the country. And we printed, because it's plastic, like they're quite expensive. I think it was about $15,000 for all the passes. And so we had to get them all reprinted overnight and change the whole thing because it got posted and people started making
their
fake
own
ones.
versions,
Yeah.
fake ones. Oh, that is crazy. Okay. So walk us through, maybe actually going back to Audrey, your artist is playing on the night time. You've woken up during the day. What's the ideal day for you? How would you encourage your artist to sort of treat show day?
Food, definitely eat. Like, it's so important to not rinse yourself. Like, you're going to have a big night. Show up at soundcheck on time, check in with your crew. I always find pre-shows, it's a really good idea to just knuckle down with your actual team. Some things can go wrong. So when you're performing, you need to actually be in that mind space,
Do you mean sort of connect with your band so you know you've got each other's back?
Yeah, that's it. I think when you're in a band, I think, I'm not a performing artist myself, but I do see it, and you have like this real intrinsic energy between you all, and then I just think it's best just to keep your head in the game. Definitely be at soundcheck on time, and I always say be on site at least an hour beforehand.
An hour before sound check?
Sorry.
Oh, before showtime.
Before showtime, but people like James, who are, the professionals, will give you your call time for load-in, which is pre-sound check. And that's about...
Yeah, depending on
what it is. And
if you're the support band, an hour before your sound check time is probably about right. If you're the headliner, it could be any time, because depending on how much you need to get done.
Ah, so if they say 2 p.m. sound check, I should actually turn up at 1.
Yes.
You'll get a load-in time before sound check time.
Thank you. Okay, thank God I'm not in a band. What's the fastest way a band can ruin sound check, apart from being late?
Treating it like a rehearsal.
So like practicing and going, let's start that one again.
Yeah. Like, understandably, there's always, you might want to run a couple of songs that you haven't rehearsed properly, or maybe you've got a guest musician and you need to run those bits, but, your sound check is for getting the stage feeling good, everyone feeling good on stage, and then that's it. Because the moment you start going over your time, you start screwing everybody's schedule over.
How would you handle that if a band was... you must have had experiences like that. Is it...
As politely as you can be, but usually you just have to say, look, we have to end this because there's several important ways that you have to end it. The first reason is that you'll have supports that need sound check, and you're literally just screwing over your support bands, which doesn't really win you any favours in the long run if you're the headliner. But also, tech breaks is a thing, and a tech break is because, I have to get dinner, and the lighting person has to get dinner, and the bar probably wants an hour where they want to brief security, they need to get things ready. They don't want music going right up until doors, in the club level, that is. And that's kind of something that I encouraged a venue in Wellington to implement, is a tech break, because it's really important.
Well, if you don't feed your brain won't be working as well as it could be.
Nobody wants to be hungry for the next 6 hours of your show. Especially, we have to be back basically at doors, so...
Lucy, what are your thoughts about sort of, band etiquette around show time and sound check and everything like that?
I think it's band etiquette for everything you do is that you don't have an ego. You're a part of an ecosystem. The venue is there, you are there, you're working together. The show is the end result. But the way to do that is to work together as a community. and that's like not support bands. There are other people on the show, so you need to be mindful of that. Everything you do needs to be mindful of everybody else there. You need to be mindful of the door person. So that's providing them with your names for the guest list, if that's a thing. You need to be mindful of the bar staff. So not sneaking alcohol backstage, being polite. Just everything you do is just remove the ego. Remember you are there because you're part of something bigger, and you all need to be working in that direction to make it a healthy, sustainable thing.
I wonder, working with some big artists, you would have experienced some egos, Jazz. How do you deal with big egos backstage? Because, everyone sort of says, rock stars, they've got to have some sort of confidence.
Yeah, I think the stadium level stuff, you just have to suck it up. Unfortunately, they've been touring for a long time, and it costs a lot of money to do a show in a stadium. Like, I think in New Zealand these days, you probably need to do 2 sold-out shows at a stadium. The first one's paying the cost of the stadium, and then the second one is where you make the money. So, yeah. I mean, I quite like the egos, but I think I've been in the industry for too long because I find I sort of collect weirdos and I like strange things. So I'm like, ooh, that guy's a bit odd. But yeah, in the New Zealand sense, when I'm touring with local acts and stuff, it's exactly like Lulu said. It's like we're all on the road together, we're all working together, and it's such a small industry. You're all going to be with each other for the next 20 years if you stay. Like I've worked with Lulu now for 15 years, same with Audrey, probably same amount of time. James, you've done sound for so many of the people that I used to work with as well. So, yeah, you're in for the long haul if you enter this industry.
It's not just New Zealand, though. Like, the moment you start leaving New Zealand, you have to go into it with the same attitude that every place that you go into, you're in it with the people there. You're not going... And that builds communities in further reaching areas.
Yeah. And also, like, fun story. So my band supported Foo Fighters beginning of 2024. Foo Fighters crew, these are people who are touring the world doing a million stadium shows, were nothing but kind and accommodating to us. And so for the moment we walked in as little baby band playing on this massive stage, like absolutely terrified, we felt welcomed and part of the show. We felt like we were a part of it, that we should have been there. And that just made such a big difference to us on show day. But also we went away going, great people, great guys, great crew, would absolutely do that again. So reputationally, like everybody on that show, A+ from me, which is a thing you want.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
But totally, you're right. The crew of all these big tours are amazing. When I say that people have egos and stuff, it's usually the 0.5%. 1 out of the 5 band members or something is a bit of a dick.
Yeah. But there is the opportunity, especially if we get that, the government to help us with local bands supporting international bands when they come here. Is there a tip that you'd say to a local band that, that gets Robbie Williams support or something?
Not really. Everything I know about how they get support is based on the actual band being a fan of the support act that they're booking. Like, I know the boys loved Dick Move. They thought you guys were awesome. That's why you got the slot, Same with Robbie likes the Drax Project boys and stuff. So, no, I'm not sure what the recipe to that is. It might be that you want to make friends with some of the people at the bigger promoters, like Frontier, TG, Live Nation or whatever. If you've got friends there that can kind of push you forward, that might help, but I don't think it comes down to anything other than you actually just being the right sound.
And making good music and making good songs.
I do think just to that, I think you need to work within your community. Like, you're not going to start a band in your bedroom and then be opening for Robbie Williams. So you need to be playing shows every weekend. You need to be playing with other bands. You need to be building your craft and getting better at it. You need to be turning up to sound checks on time. You need to be learning all of that as you go, and that's a really important part of it. You're not just very unlikely just to turn up and be playing a stadium. Like, you should have been working for years or months, years to get to that point, and that hard work is seen. If you're out there playing your local venues, people do notice that. If people are like, yeah, they're really good, they turn up on time, they come with their gear, people know that. So you just need to be professional and turn up from day one.
What makes a good show, Audrey? Because lots of us come along and we see a good show, and sometimes we feel the energy and we're like, that was weird, that kind of, weird energy. But yeah, do you guys have any thoughts? What makes a good show? You've said, feeling good backstage and everything?
I think perception, really think about your lighting and your set list, what you're creating, the ebb and flow of all of that, your sound and what you want to get out of it. If you're on a budget, I always actually, this came up recently, if you don't have visuals and you have LED behind you, at least have your logo. It's so important. People take photos of that, they'll see it, it will be reposted. It's really strong representation. But performance-wise, I think at the end of the day, your art is going to translate the way it does. And I think just rehearse all the time, constantly, get your set tight. Echoing on what everyone said is the professionalism. I think that ends up showing through and having a really good show.
What happens if you put on a show and you've been working months towards it? You've done Facebook groups, you've set it all up, posters, and the turnout for whatever reason is just very, very low. Do you guys have any, helps or, suggestions of...
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't?
No, just keep playing. Have fun. That's why you're there. You're there with a group of people. You've worked really hard. You're on stage. That's awesome. The fact that you're on stage is like I'm clapping for if you can't hear me. That's amazing. Anybody who stands up on stage with an instrument or a microphone, I'm like, wow, that is so cool. So if you're on stage, just have fun. There may be 3 people in the room. They may be your biggest fans, and you might make their night. So it doesn't matter if there's a full room or 3 people. Just play and have fun and play your hardest. And sometimes you have to put more energy, and you've got to show up more for less people in the room, and that's cool. Do it.
Just what you said, yeah. It's just, and there's no controlling a turnout. Some nights you could have played to 400, 500 people last time you came through, and this time everybody went to a different gig. And just because, for whatever reason, and you just have to make sure that anybody that's in the room is having the best gig of their night, of their life. And that wins fans and creates connections as well. Sometimes those are the gigs where the fans really walk away being like, I can't believe nobody came to that gig. It was so incredible.
Yeah. And you don't know who's going to be in the audience.
You never know who's going to be in the audience.
Yeah. You mentioned before, but how much does energy level matter? Because do you sort of would you encourage artists to sort of, get into that right headspace to go on stage and perform?
I think from my take with being around people that are going on stage, everyone's got their entirely own way of psyching themselves into being on stage. So it's really hard to generalize that. Some people that you think are the coolest, calmest people ever are before the show, and we all just avoid them because we're don't talk to him, he's spinning out. But then he gets on stage and he's awesome, but that's just a part of what he does. It's just all completely individualized, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, that does make sense. I think that's what I was meaning by just tap in with your teammates on the day and beforehand, because they're the ones who know. So, yeah.
And I think when you're in a band and you've got 5 different people, everybody's got different skill sets as well. So if you're really good at talking to people and that's what you want to be doing, then you go out there and you talk to people. That's like selling merch. It's directly after you get off stage. If that's your skill, go for it. If you need to sit down and have quiet time, then you should be respectful of everybody in your band as well who is needing to do that. So everybody has different skills, and you just need to tap into those skill levels. But that's what Audrey is saying, is that you know your band, you know your team, and you respect that.
That's such a good call. You suggested the great idea of a logo or the artist name being on the screen. Is there anything else any of you guys have got ideas of how to elevate a live show well, another simple trick just to make the show next level?
I think not, this is just my personal opinion, not mucking around between songs, not taking ages to tune. If you can play a set that's just bam, 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 afterwards people are like, wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, but also so
Personal
I've seen some. No, I agree with you completely. But I've also seen some incredible shows where an artist will just have absolute dead silence for ages between songs. It's like Aldous Harding does that quite often. You know, she'll stop playing a song and she'll just wait for the crowd to become quiet. Then she'll wait longer and longer, and until it becomes awkward. Then she'll start playing another song. Kendrick Lamar did it. When he played Spark, I was like, everyone was on the edge of their seat. But it's about curating the way you are going to present your show. So they've intent, yeah.
James, what about if an artist is having trouble with sound up on stage? What's the best way for them to communicate with you during a set?
For me, for what I do, I have secret methods of communicating. And this happens when you get up to a certain level. The artist has ways to talk to me directly, so they can go, I can't hear myself, I need help. And you go, oh, okay, well, what do you need? And then the audience doesn't matter. On a more local level, it's you need to sign language, ups and downs, but being very clear as well. Like, being like, that's like really important. And then hopefully the engineer will do what they can. It is really hard. This is why, on larger tours, there's ways of communicating without using hand signals, because hand signals can mean one thing to one person and another to another person. So, but yeah.
Audrey, you had a cowbell story. Yeah.
I did bring that up because I think I was thinking about situations where the sound might drop out, and honestly, it does happen. I'm thinking back to a festival. I can't remember. Sorry, James.
This is giving the sound
never your
engineer.
fault.
No, I just had a flashback to a festival where the PA cut out.
Oh yeah, I don't know if it was the same one. It's actually happened twice, and this was on a Lady Six show, and the sound completely dropped out. And I guess this is where I circle back to always be in check with who's on your team, because the PA dropped out and Julian Dine just picked up a cowbell and started tapping along like did it, and then Lady clocked it and just picked up the mic and went full a cappella freestyle, rapped this whole for like 2 minutes, and it ended up being the coolest thing you're never going to see again. But and then the sound came back on and they just flawlessly jumped back in. You know what I mean? But yeah.
Crazy enough, Julian Dine was in the show that the PA cut out for me, and then he started a drum circle on stage.
With his cowbell?
It was him and another drummer, and then they handed out percussionist, and it was like percussion to other people in the band, and it was I didn't get to enjoy it. But it also wasn't my fault.
Also sounds like no egos. He's not throwing a tantrum when it didn't work, and just made it work.
It also happens on the massive shows. Like I had a couple of years ago with Ed Sheeran. His, the thing, the stage. He had a rotating stage, and then that stopped, and then the loop pedal was shorting the entire PA. It was the most uncomfortable 7 minutes of my entire life, watching 60,000 people all try and figure out what the hell was going on. And then we were all under the stage pushing the stage around because the motor had gone. And I'm so short that someone had to give me a box to stand on. And I thought I was being really helpful, but I think I was just getting in the way. But so it happens on that kind of level. And we have 500 kVA generators. I don't know if anyone knows what they are, but they're all daisied and synced and stuff. And it still happens. So, yeah.
So with you on such a big show like that, there would be some sort of team member or someone to go, right, this is what we're doing.
Yeah, it's never just one person. It's an entire, it's the same thing. It's a community thing. So there's probably 8 of us that sit kind of at the top of all the things. And then it's literally all of us making a collective decision that we think might be the solution.
Yeah. We're going to have some questions at the end as well. I just suddenly remembered I should tell you that in case you've got any questions. Keep them up your sleeve. When you do a gig and it feels like it went really well, what do you do the next day or that night? A lot of bands would probably want to celebrate and, get on it. Have you guys got thoughts on what a band should do?
Yeah, I mean, definitely celebrate. One thing I do want to say that's really important is merch, and go and meet your fans.
Go sell merch.
Yeah, exactly. Sell that merch. Connect with the audience who love you for the reason that they're there. Sign that kind of stuff. On a professional level, the following day I'd probably be reaching out to reviewers or, double checking like who was there that night. Follow up with radio stations in that territory, that kind of thing, and just, make friends.
And keep the relationship going with the bar and the venue. Would you say thanks? Thanks, guys. That was amazing. Or is that something?
Absolutely.
Always.
Yeah. Absolutely, they're priority.
Yeah.
They're the friends.
Yeah. James, anything that you would do? I mean, you'll probably have to drop gear back the next day or something.
Hopefully not. Hopefully somebody else is doing that.
Yeah.
Hopefully I'm just taking my stuff home.
Is there any piece of, this could be a good James question, any piece of gear that's completely underrated that you think every band should have?
Spares. Spare cables, spare strings, spare picks, spare sticks. Just one of everything that you might think might break or might not break, just spares.
When I'm touring, I'm not on stage at all, but I've got a pelly that's just filled with helpful shit. So, same thing. It's like spare picks, spare things. I don't know what any of them really do, but I have them in my Pelican case, and then if anyone needs something, I'm like, Mary Poppins bag,
I remember batteries when I used to...
Batteries, yeah.
Because they've got to be certain types of batteries for some things, yeah.
But you can't travel with them.
You can in your backpack.
And your carry-on, yeah. But if you've got a packed pelly, they won't go through there.
Yeah. Anything else, ladies, at the end that you'd do post-show?
No, I think post-show I go back to, everybody has different skills, so that's what they need to utilise. Selling merch, I'm so lucky my singer is dynamite and she'll just go out there and sell merch and talk to everybody. I go sit by myself somewhere and just kind of decompress for the rest of the night. And realistically, if you're in a band, you will get off stage and you'll be like, oh my God, that one song where I just totally fucked up that one note and everybody definitely noticed. So you do that. Don't do that though.
There must be times where you're playing to a crowd and you've got all this energy and sometimes you're just not really getting it back from the crowd, a tough crowd, I guess you could say it. Is there any tips on what you do to sort of try and win over a crowd?
I go back to what we said earlier, which was just play, put all of your energy into it.
Have fun.
Interact with your bandmates, have fun, because that's how you're going to win over a tough crowd. And if you don't, you still need to be having fun and giving it your all anyway.
Yeah, good call. Touring, I've been lucky enough to be on a few tours, but it always has blown me away how exhausting they are and how when you go on tour, they talk about the tour bubble. And I've never really got that, but I totally understand it now. It's like physically and mentally draining. How do you guys look after yourself when you're on tour? And it can be sometimes for up to 3 weeks. James, you've done a lot of touring. Any thoughts?
I don't look after myself.
I don't really either, because quite often you do. There's a lot of lack of sleep. There's a lot of travel. There's a lot of eating really shitty food. And you're early mornings, late nights. You just have to try not to be really bad to yourself, rather than I think that's the best you can do up until a point where you've got stadiums full of people taking care, paying tickets and huge crews taking care of you. Is just try not to be awful to yourself. Don't go out on a bender. That's a great thing not to do. If you've got to get up at 7 the next day, 6. It's 2 a.m. It's probably time for bed.
Yeah, it's hard work and there's nothing you can do to get away from the hard work. When you're on tour, you manage to just do it, you push through it. It's when you sort of get home from tour where it really hits you. So I think that's possibly also when you should be taking care of yourself, is when you get home.
Post-tour blues?
Post-tour blues.
Post-event depression.
Yeah. Oh, it's a thing. It's definitely a thing.
It's the adrenaline.
I have a massive team that work with me, and we went on a run of shows last year. It was 180 days in a row. And I do something stupid where every morning I make someone pick a song and we'll dance because it's 6:30 in the morning. We're all delirious and it's horrible. And we are the first people there and the last people to leave, and everyone just needs us to fix everything. And so for the first 5 minutes of the morning we dance, and it's mental, and we all pick a stretch and stuff. But you got to keep it light. I think that's the most important thing for me. Is it's a really hard job. It's also like long, so keep it light. Don't get too involved in it all.
What about looking after your voice, Lucy, or even James? Actually, yeah.
My singer and a lot of artists I know warm ups, and they can sound stupid, and you can be really embarrassed standing in the corner of a room. I'm not going to sing because I can't. La 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 la-ing. And Lucy, my singer, does vocal exercises through a straw. I don't know what that does, but that's a thing. So I think if you're a singer, it's getting a nod from the front. It's that doing vocal exercises.
Practically, hot water is, during your set beforehand as well. So, when you're writing your hospo rider, think about things like that. What do I actually need for my voice? And don't be shy to put it on there, like have a kettle in the green room with green tea or honey or whatever you need. It's important,
Yeah. Anything else on the rider? Or?
To touch back and looking after yourself on the road, have healthy things on the rider, I think I said this last year, coconut water, but it's true. Your B12s, especially if you're touring back to back to back, have just good things, because that might be your only one chance to stop that day without having to stop in at a gas station or an airport, Yeah.
Also, don't take the piss. Like if you've got four people in your band and you're wanting 24 beers and 3 bottles of tequila and stuff, everyone's just going to say no. And just make sure that it's very clear. Your rider is easy to read. The amount of writers I get sent where it's just gobbledygook and there's too many words. It's I don't really care. I just want to know, I want 1 through to 10 of this. I've got an input list that is 1 through to, and then we've got the stage plot. We don't need to know about whether you like poodles or balloons or any of that kind of stuff. Just simple.
And also a writer, at the end of the day, does cost you as an artist. So
yeah, it doesn't.
You're not just putting things on there that you want because you're getting shit for free. It
comes out of your fee.
Does it?
Yep.
Yeah, or venue hire comes on top of venue hire.
It's nice venues sometimes give you some beers for free and water, but in most situations your rider is paid for out of by either you or the promoter, by indirectly you or you, basically.
So wrapping up before we go to questions, and then please stick around as well because there's a fantastic panel after us. It's called In the Neighbourhood, and then of course it's the Summit Mixer. But to round things off, what does a truly great live performance look like for you guys? What are the key ingredients? We've mentioned community, or sorry, not community, but team spirit, good manners.
I reckon it's all about the vibe. Yeah, if you're a good person, you're a good band, you play good music, it's a good set. It's kind of the vibes just all have to be on.
Yeah.
Sort of like a rule in human life.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
I think that's why we're here.
Good people.
It's definitely for the vibes, right?
Does anyone have any questions in the audience? Yes. Oh, sorry. I've gone slightly early. We've got a microphone coming. Questions. Yay. Thank you, Willa. And a huge thanks to Willa and everyone from the Music Commission for putting on today as well. It's so... Yeah, thanks.
Hi there. So we do a lot of grassroots music promotion and working with artists. What are some good pathways to get into behind the scenes, such as stage management and teching and helping run a performance versus just being a musician on the bill? Because we're just as much students, and I'm honestly quite curious about how that pathway works.
I would say the internship program from the Music Commission is incredible. All of my full-time staff that I've ended up with came to me as an intern via these guys. It's incredible. Other thing is just go to Western Audio. Go to places and offer you, can I help out for a day?
Go to Double Whammy. Ask if you if they need any engineers, any lighting people. Tell them your experience. Yep, go to the production companies, go to Western. Who's the big lighting company up here? I don't know.
Spotlight College Hill. Everyone will happily be like, yeah, sweet, you can help me for 6 hours running cable.
Find out the promoters, Live Nation, everybody. Email them, tell them that you want to intern.
I literally started when I was 17 or 18 by working the door, driving bands, driving equipment, just being as helpful and in the way as I could be. But from that I learnt skills, and then I got to know people, and then that was just organically, it grew over the years.
Same. That's how I just put myself in the mix.
Same. That's
Somebody
how I did
just
it too.
asked me to mix a gig once, and I did.
That's so good. What I was going to say, actually, Big Fan have something going on. I feel like they only just announced it, but they do Ignite, which you can, sort of get experience purely in lighting or purely in stage management, which is really cool as well.
Yeah, I think that's open now, isn't it? Big Fans, yeah.
Yeah.
I've got so many questions today. Thank you, everyone, for your thoughts and your insight. Just a question for our bands and our talent who might be kind of more on the starting out end, the more independent end. When we're talking about riders, is there a certain cutoff in terms of how big a band needs to be to have a rider, in terms of wanting to not come across as having an ego?
Are you talking about hospitality or technical?
Technical.
You always have to have a technical rider if you're going to do a gig. But you have to be aware of what venues you're playing at and what the venues might be able to supply, or what they're going to tell you costs money that you don't have. So if you're like a lot of pop bands now, backing tracks and in-ears and so forth, and if you're playing Double Whammy or what's the other small venues down here?
Ponsonby Social Club?
Ponsonby, yeah. Something they're not going to have a monitor engineer and in-ears for you, so you need to find cheaper solutions for yourself on that side, and then write that into the rider and say, hi, we've got wired ears or whatever, so that the information's there so people can read it.
And put on your rider what your dream amp is, and then or equivalent, and then you'll end up with a combo or a twin. That's absolutely fine, but put what you want on there.
And also pick a generic amplifier. Yeah. There's a reason why everyone gets Fender Twins and DeVilles and Voxes and Ampeg SVTs. It's because they are the generics. And just if your guitarists and bass players just need to learn how to use them, or the Marshalls, and just spend a little bit of time with it, or bring your own.
Kia ora. Thank you so much for your kōrero. I really appreciate it. My name's VK. I have a quick question. I'm an independent artist, and I'm sure that a lot of people here in this room don't actually have managers, and it's really daunting to contact and to get in touch with venues and venue owners when you don't have management and when you're representing yourself. Would you please be able to give us some advice on how we could best approach you? Because, I'm sure you're getting 1 million emails a day, so yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely. It's a really good question, and I totally understand it. When you are emailing, so just from my point of view, I am getting 1 million emails a day. Booking calendars are like Jenga. You've got pencil holds, you've got second pencils, you've got third pencils. If somebody emails you wanting a date, you've got to check in on all those 3 pencils. So try and be as clear but also as accommodating as possible. So you want to doing a single release or an EP release, you've got a window of 7 days. Ideally you want a Friday or Saturday, but you're open to playing a Wednesday and Thursday as well. So you're just wanting to be as flexible and as accommodating as possible, so the person at the other end reading it is more likely to get back to you on time, because they're not needing to to contact 3 people before they can move a booking to get you your specific date that you might not want to book in anyway because the next venue doesn't sort of line up with that. And then just explain exactly what it is. So it's your debut single. You have 2 support bands that you've already got lined up. You're expecting 100 people to turn up, and you're wanting a show between the 7th of May and the 14th of May.
And maybe some links? Or yeah.
Oh, sorry, yeah, and links to your music, absolutely. Links to your music and your social media as well.
I just also want to say you're totally okay to not have management when you're starting out. Like,
totally.
That's really important for everyone to understand that.
Yeah,
management
you
costs you
shouldn't.
money.
Yeah.
And it's another layer of shit to have to deal with, to have a manager. And so you only really need a manager when it starts to become something you can't manage yourself.
And also, like, if you do get to a point where you're picking a manager, it is so important to pick somebody that's the right fit for you, because it's a personal relationship which is very, very close.
I think it becomes very organic when that relationship becomes a thing. It doesn't seem to be a cold calling situation, like a manager and you will just kind of weirdly, symbiotically, kind of like meet. And
It happens.
It's like super fans. You want your manager to be your super fan, I reckon.
Yeah, totally.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And also just follow up with...
Oh, yes, we've got the MMF in New Zealand, Music Managers Forum. And that is
Thanks, right?
yeah, we love the MMF.
MMF.
And actually, Audrey, you're part of the...
Oh my
So
God.
it's brought to you.
Okay, usually with my spiel to other people that I've spieled about not needing management, I always say, I've forgotten, guys, sorry, Lorraine, sorry, that you have to join the MMF. If you're not a member of the MMF, it's the most useful tool that you'll have as an independent artist, 100%. You can go to all the seminars, you can get people like these guys mentoring you. Contacts, they do the speed. It's $100 a year, I think.
But you totally get more than that for the contacts and everything like that and the advice.
It's so worth it. That's what I joined that.
I did
15
too.
or 16 years ago, and that's where I began to meet all these wonderful people.
We have to wrap up now. We could all talk for so much longer, and thank you. And we could listen. Thank you so much for all your questions. Thanks to the Music Summit. Thanks to the wonderful panel too, to James, to Jazz, to Lucy, to Audrey. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Charlotte.
Thank you, Charlotte.